Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. You know, when you look at the people that Ed mentioned in his report, Page and Strzok and Bruce Orr and McCabe, we got all the central figures in the insurance policy aspect of this. One has to wonder, is this now what, and Christopher Steele, one has to now wonder, is that where this is leading Jim Jordan?
Yeah, the first guy that Bruce Orr talks to after he meets with Christopher Steele is Andy McCabe. He calls him up a day or two later and then meets with him and Lisa Page. So all the key people at the FBI knew what was going on before they take the dossier to the court. They knew the Orr's involvement, they knew who paid for the dossier, and they knew that the guy who wrote it, Christopher Steele, had told Bruce Orr that he was desperate to stop Trump. And we don't believe they conveyed any of that critical information to the FISA court when they went to get the warrant to spy on the Trump campaign. That's why this is so important we get it. And they knew this all up front, right when it started in late July, early August. That's why this is so critical that this information become public.
And that's the point. If you got Page, Strzok, Orr, Steele, and McCabe, you got the whole insurance policy. Matt Gaetz.
And it's almost like you got the board of directors of the deep state together, Sean. And you know, I mean,
but they all hate Trump. The one thing in common, they all hate Donald Trump.
Andrew Weissman knew too, as well, Sean.
And he
on
gets
the front end of this.
You're
as well.
right. Because let me just add one thing. Because Orr is hearing from Christopher Steele over 70 contacts. And not only are they talking about firewalls not wanting to be exposed, but also, oh, did you get my stuff to the special counsel? Which we now know a contact was Andrew Weissman.
And, Sean, to put a finer point on what Jim had said, it's not the statements or words in these documents that we're looking for. It's the omissions. It's the information that is not presented to the courts. I mean, we caught the Orrs red-handed. You got Bruce Orr shuttling information to the FBI that was developed by his wife, and the money paying for it all came from the DNC. I mean, the Orrs are probably the most dangerous power couple in Washington since the Clintons were running around this place. And I think that until we get the information about what was presented to the FISA court, we won't know the full depths of the misconduct at the FBI and Department of Justice to inappropriately lie to a court. And I think that the penalties are just starting to rack up.
Well, then let's go to the issue that we now know a grand jury's impaneled, Jim Jordan, and then the issue of unredacting by the president and declassifying by the president. Do we have any idea? We know witnesses are called. Does that mean that everybody that was involved in that phony, fraudulent, Clinton bought and paid for dossier, the fraud on the court and information withheld purposely, more fraud on the court, is everybody that signed that now in legal jeopardy, perhaps?
We'll see. What we do know is the FBI and the DOJ had a sophisticated leaking project going on. Andrew McCabe lied about that, according to the Inspector General, 3 times under oath and faces a criminal referral. And as Ed pointed out, there's now a grand jury been impaneled on the Andrew McCabe issue. So this is what they did, I believe. They leaked information to the press, and then they used the reports the press wrote to buttress the false dossier to give it legitimacy when it was a false document. That was the game that was being played. And we know that from Devin Nunes' memo that the Intelligence Committee put out, where they cite news reports to add weight to the dossier. It was all baloney, this circular game they played. That's, I think, maybe the biggest concern that we see.
All right, last word,
and we may see members, we may see members of the media caught up in that as well, Sean. You'll remember there was a reference in the Inspector General's report to members of the media inappropriately giving gifts to people at the FBI to get stories and get tips. That may have facilitated the illegal leaks, and I think people could go to jail for it.
All right, great work. We'll see if that happens maybe as early as this weekend or early next week. Good to see you both.